So, League of Legends. Hated by some, hated by others. It's a game people are hopelessly addicted to, me included. And I am here to talk about it. League is a fuckfest of a game with one main objective: mentally dominate your opponent. Winning is a secondary goal. But let's talk about how you actually win. You win by destroying the enemy's nexus. It's the little rock all the way in the back across the map. I'm sure it has some lore or whatnot, unlike some champs. You first have to destroy all the towers on a lane. Lanes being roles that you choose before the game starts. But more on that later. There are 3 towers, an inhibitor, 2 nexus towers, and the nexus itself. Towers are structures that damage you if you get within range of them with no minions, or if you attack the enemy under it. The inhibitor, or inhib for short, it has one sole purpose, and that is getting destroyed. Upon destroying the inhib, super minions start to spawn. Nexus towers are like, well, towers, just next to the nexus. And the nexus. If you don't remember what it is, just rewind 30 seconds or so in the video. Now, what are those mysterious creatures I've been talking about this entire time? The minions. They're cute little fellas that try to tickle your balls with their attacks every now and then. And you mercilessly kill them for golden XP. There's 4 types of minions. Melee minions, as the name implies, have melee attacks and give you decent gold and XP upon death. S-tier minions are the ranged guys. They give you the least gold and XP upon being killed. Siege minions are the big boys. Lots of gold and XP. Alright. I'll talk about lanes now. There are 4 lanes and 5 roles: bot, mid, jungle, and top. There are 3 physical lanes, but jungle is a lane as well. You can choose your role before the game starts, but whether you get it or not is a different question, since you also have to pick a secondary role. Different champs play best at different lanes, but that doesn't stop you from trying. Their effectiveness, of course, is gonna be questionable. For example, an ADC in jungle is gonna have a hard time clearing, and so leveling up and getting gold will be a very tedious task. Not to mention the gank ability, but I'll talk more about that later. Each lane has its dedicated role, except for bot. There are 2 people per team, the ADC and the support. But let's start with the ADC. The attack damage carry's job is to output as much damage as possible. They are a force to be reckoned with when it comes to pure damage, but they severely lack in HP most of the time. You can kind of see them as glass cannons. If you ignore them, they will decimate your team, but they can't stand their ground on their own. That's why they have a support on their ass all the time. A support's job is to, well, support the team. How, you may ask? Simple. Help with objectives, help with kills, engage, etc. Next on the list is mid lane. It's the role with statistically the most racism and ego in the game. And I guess it's for a good reason too. The ego, not the racism. A good mid laner can single-handedly win you the game. Most of the champions that can be played are assassins. Quick interactions, get in, kill, get out. Or bruiser types. They can tank a bunch of damage while still dealing some too. Next up on the list is top lane. People tend to forget this lane most of the time. There's even a term for it. Top lane island. The reason for that name is very simple. Most of the time you can find tanks on top. And what do tanks do? Or rather don't do? They don't take damage, but they also don't deal any. A late game tank v tank fight is comparable to a fucking Attack on Titan battle scene. Don't underestimate it though. Certain fed top laners can be the worst thing you have ever encountered. Last, but certainly not least, we have jungle. The most impactful role in the game. Jungle is special because unlike normal laners, the jungler gets their golden XP from clearing jungle camps. They also don't have a physical path that they have to stay on, so the entire map could be their lane if they want to. And that roaming capability leads to the jungler being perfect for 2 things: ganking and taking objectives. Ganking is visiting a lane to help them, like that one uncle that randomly comes up to your house out of nowhere. You just go in, secure the kill or push the wave or whatever, and then you leave. Next up is taking... Currently, there are 6 objectives. So let's start with Void Grubs. These little shits can give you some decent pushing power. Killing them gives you a buff that deals over time true damage to the tower you are hitting. True damage being damage that ignores armor and magic resist. If you manage to kill all 3 grubs, you even start to spawn little grubbies that help you push. Next up is Rift Herald. After defeating him, you get the Eye of the Herald. You can place it anywhere on the map. Upon placing it, you will respawn the Herald, but this time, he's on your team. He makes his way over to the nearest tower and then smashes into it, dealing massive damage. Also, a quick side note, if you participated in defeating Rift Herald, your next recall will be empowered. So instead of 8 seconds, it will only take 4. Baron Nashor is the next objective. It's a late game objective that gives you a buff perfect for ending the game. Defeating him requires a team effort, however. But when successful, you get the buff. The buff gives you some stats, but that's not why you take Baron. The minion buff is the good shit. More HP, more range for already ranged minions, and way more damage. If you have a whole wave of buffed up minions, you can easily take a tower or 2. Or just end the game. And as a bonus, you get unlimited empowered recalls until the buff runs out, or you lose the buff upon death. On the other side of the map, there are Drakes. Drakes are objectives that have a 5-minute respawn timer. Each Drake can give you and your team a permanent buff for the rest of the game. The increase in stats isn't much, but it certainly is something. There are 6 elemental dragons and an elder dragon. Chemtech Drake gives you tenacity, aka get out of crow control faster, and heal and shield power. Cloud Drake gives you slow resist and movement speed. Hextech Drake gives you ability haste and attack speed. Infernal gives extra attack damage and ability power. Mountain Drake gives armor and magic resist. And lastly, Ocean Drake, who gives some missing health healing. Something quite important is the Drake Rifts. After defeating 2 Drakes, the map changes and only one type of Drake, that hasn't been slain yet, can spawn. Once your team secures 4 Drakes, you get the Dragon Soul, which gives you a massive buff. For example, damage reduction, a shield, or extra damage. I put Elder Drake as a separate objective, purely because it's so OP. Once you get the aspect of the dragon, or Elder buff, you gain 2 things. 1, a passive that deals true damage, and 2, a passive that literally executes enemies below 20 HP. So yeah, it's OP. Last but not least, Atakan. He's the latest addition to League alongside Void Grubs. He can spawn either top or bot, depending on where the most fighting took place. Upon killing him, you get 2 things for the rest of the game. Killing an enemy now deals damage around them and slows other enemies in that radius. And all the little flowers that you've been collecting around the map now give you 25% more damage and XP. Lastly, I will tell you a bit about items and runes. So let's start with runes, shall we? Runes are kind of stat buffs. You can mix and match different runes to your specific needs. But keep in mind that each champ has 1, 2, or maybe 3 rune pages that fit them the best. There are key runes and sub-runes. It's not the actual name, but whatever. Key runes are the more useful ones. You can actually feel their effects once you proc them. The sub-runes grant you a small buff. Not that it's not noticeable, but nothing too crazy. But that isn't to say that they can be ignored. They can save your life or help you get that 1 extra plate off a tower. I'm not gonna go into detail about which rune does what, because this video would be 20 minutes long. There are plenty of guides online for that anyways. Now, it's not really a rune, nor an item, but I will tell you about it anyways. Summoner spells. They're a utility that you pick before loading into a match. They can be very useful. You can block a bit of damage, heal up just above the execute threshold, or go to the other side of the map in seconds. Alright, lastly, items. There are a bunch of items in the game, each having their own stats and sometimes passives. There's starter, basic, epic, and legendary items. Basics built into epics and epics built into legendaries. You can buy items at the shop at your spawn point. Each item is made for a different purpose, and so the champs that can effectively build that item are limited to. And the reason for that being that there are 2 damage types in the game. Well, 3 if you count true damage. AD and AP. AD, or attack damage, increases the damage your auto attacks deal, and increases the damage from abilities that scale off of it. Most of the time, those abilities deal physical damage, with some exceptions. AP, or ability power, increases the damage abilities deal, and deals magic damage. Each damage type can be reduced with armor or magic resist respectively, which you can increase by buying items that have them. You can build AD on an AP champ, but you're not gonna get much use out of it. You can find both item builds and rune pages is best suited for your champs online. There are even third-party apps that give you an in-game overlay showing you what to buy or what to do. One last things are the Feats of Strength. It's a mechanic added alongside Void Grubs and Atakan. The first team to get 2 out of the 3 feats gets to upgrade their boots for some extra stats. Those feats are getting 3 kills, destroying the first turret, or securing 3 objectives. Alright, that was more or less it. There are a bunch of mechanics and details that I'm not going to talk about purely because I don't want to bore you that much. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.